Hey everyone, in Sente here, and today I would like to talk to you about a subject that almost every beginner and intermediate Go player can relate to, and that is the feeling of playing someone very, very, very much stronger than you, looking at the board after you're all done, and being like, what happened? How did I give away so many points? And that's exactly what this game was, and that's exactly what I want to talk to you about, because I think there's some very useful things that we can learn from this game. As you can see by the game, if you're good at counting territory, you might notice that one has much more territory than the other. Black thoroughly trounced white. White was me. Black was my good friend Tyler, otherwise known as Street Play, on KGS. And this teaching game was really, really educational and sort of gave me a glimpse into the inner workings of the mind of someone who is much, much better than you when they play a game against you. So how did this terribleness happen? If you look at the score estimator, I'm behind by 37.5 points, including Comey. Did something die? Did I lose a giant fight? No, none of that happened. I played a very peaceful game. I purposely played a very peaceful game because I wanted to practice my positional judgment skills. And clearly, his positional judgment's very, very much better than mine. But this was very educational. I want to take you through this game and show you how someone who's much better than you beats you when they play a game of Go. And hopefully this will give you more of an insight into how you can apply these techniques to your own games to get better yourself. So let's get started. So how did things go so wrong? Well, the title of this video is called Death by 1,000 Paper Cuts, which I think describes the way that really good players play against weaker players extremely, extremely well. And here's the reason that games seem to get so one-sided when you play against a stronger player. First of all, they don't make as many mistakes than you, obviously. I mean, that by definition, if you're better, you don't make as many mistakes. But they hold on to any advantages that they get and are less likely to give those advantages up through some mistake later on in the game. As a result, you get to see your inefficient play compound like interest over the course of the entire game, and what starts out as a few minor inefficiencies turns into a huge local loss or a huge global loss that results in a ton of points being lost by the time you get to the end game. So let's go through, and I want to talk about all of those little inefficiencies that I had in my game and how they took part in my global defeat by the end. So as I was saying, whites in this game started off playing very simple, and upon review for this game, already there is a slight inefficiency, very slight, very, very slight inefficiency in my play. Now, if you're trying to play basic, or you've been watching Dwyron's basic series, amazing by the way, this seems very much in line with that, right? Make a settled group. The opening is generally less important because the people that you're playing on the same skill level will probably have the same skill in the opening, so settled strong groups is probably fine. But in Tyler's brain, so my opponent's brain, what he was thinking in his high Don, 6 Don, 7 Don level brain was, wow, it was really good that white allowed me to get a comfortable base here because this was white's original area. If you look at the way the game started, I had 2 stones on this side, black had 0. So theoretically, I should be trying to take a more proactive role in getting as much value as I can from a side where I'd already placed 2 stones. Backing off and letting black get a comfortable extension is a little bit, a tiny bit, inefficient. Because what was originally white's side, black has now a comfortable base. If I were to try to play more proactively, I could entertain ideas of maybe pincering and trying to build this side more aggressively than a simple back off. But again, this is a very, 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 very small thing and would not lose you the game in any normal circumstance. In fact, I'm sure there are arguments as to why this play is fine, but it is one idea. It's something that he was thinking about when he was playing against me that I learned during the review. Black decides to do the AlphaGo style 3-3 invasion. What follows is kind of a modern style fight over Sente, which I don't want to get into. I don't really want to get into the Josekis or anything. This is more about flow of the game. So after making this exchange, I felt pretty comfortable with my opening position. I had good potential here. I developed fairly fast. Black was low here, low here. So I thought it was okay. I didn't feel too that far behind. Black decides to create some Aji right away. And here's the next inefficiency. I descend and try to undercut. Now, what I should have done was go over the top and try to fight, actively fight, and get as much advantage out of this area as I possibly could. What would probably happen if I did that was I would solidify the connection between this stone and this stone and potentially get more points in this area or create a weak group that Black has to take care of later. But I played too passively and decided to go under, and now I'm going to have to worry about these stones for a pretty long time after this. On top of that, it's Gote. So besides not being very aggressive and not really using my wall, it's now Gote. And Black has the opportunity to just take a big point elsewhere on the board. That's inefficiency number 2. Inefficiency number 3 was that I did this. My thinking was when I play here and Black responds, I have a Sente move here to get into the right-hand side. Because if Black decides to pass or not do anything, we see the tiger's mouth, classic Joseki shape here, and White has eliminated all of Black's points. So that's what I was looking at. But the thing is, Black wouldn't play this way. If White decides to push here, Black would simply extend and develop a side that was already more profitable for him at the expense of a corner which isn't as valuable. So inefficiency number 3 was I did not mind the biggest part of the board, which was here. What follows is a way for Black to proactively get Sente, enlarge his area at the expense of my own area, and then make a really big move on the right-hand side. So that was inefficiency number 3, going for the corner instead of trying to build position on the right-hand side before Black can do this, right? So now my area is almost as big as his area. My potential is almost as big as his potential. So now I was thinking, all right, I'm going to try to maximize as much territory as I can, or potential as I can over here, and then maybe invade this later. So I push a few times, and then try to kind of make as big of a moyo as I can. The issue, which will come back to bite me in the butt later, is that this connection is not a good connection. And Black will exploit this later. I won't tell you how yet, but I will say that this is another inefficiency that is going to come back to haunt me. Black gets a really good turn in this position. Because I was pushing from behind, I couldn't keep pushing from behind and giving Black points, so I had to change directions. But now Black is expanding his area and reducing my area. At this point, I decide to go in for a invasion and try to equalize the score a little bit. Do some standard Sabaki stuff to try to get a position in his area. A stronger player might have killed me, found a way to kill me, but he decided to, since this was a teaching game, let me just get a position in the corner and then make a wall. Now his territory is kind of concentrated here and here. So because I kind of see a sector line, right? If we've learned about sector lines, we know that between the two areas of potential, it's kind of the place to try to reduce. However, I played this a little bit too close, too far away from my other stone. This actually gave Black the opportunity to split. And after trying to settle the split as peacefully as I could, we see that Black kept kind of the majority of his potential. I didn't really reduce him that much. And if I wanted to have a better reduction, probably pulling back one space, maintaining connected, would give me more points on the top and allow me to reduce his area a little bit more effectively. Again, none of these are huge mistakes. Nothing died, right? It's not like some debilitating shape problem that killed an entire group. It's just a matter of a few points here and there. And now, the inefficiency of these two stones came back to bite me with this beautiful reduction here. We can see that if I try to cover to capture, Black can simply do the tiger's mouth trick that we saw on the right-hand side. And now white has to cover here. And black can essentially capture the entire thing. Worst case scenario, just double Atari. And now we see that white still has to try to figure out how to keep its territory and not let these two black stones be free, right? If white tries to simply cover, like so, black can come in from this direction. And now we have a really annoying kind of elephant eye kind of thing going on here. And black can get in very much into white's territory. So even though it looked very big and very impressive, there was very key shape points that black was able to exploit to reduce me. That was an efficiency number, I think we're on 6 now. I tried to reduce his area in Sente because my understanding was if he didn't do anything, I would be able to capture or put pressure on the 3 stones. However, what I didn't realize was this move is Sente, and now if I try to do this, he can just play here, and nothing is really lost. So inefficiency, the next inefficiency, was thinking that this was Sente when actually it wasn't. So black played here, and then played a number of forcing moves to solidify his points on the side and make sure that I live, and then come back to completely decimate my Moyo on the bottom right. Now we can see the reason that this move was so bad was because I thought it was Sente, it was actually Gote. And since he was able to find Sente exchanges for the past 10 moves or so, he kept Sente to fix up his area, and then he used Sente to come back and ruin my Moyo. So this is how the inefficiency came back to bite me, and he exploited the shape of this large knight over here. I try to protect what little I have left, and now he picks another amazing shape point, enlarging his area, reducing my potential for development, and the goose is just about cooked. There's some more endgamey things, which are the last kind of cuts that he made to get those last few points. He got a lot of really big endgame points, like this one, and this one, and this one, which definitely helped spur his lead. But after that, the game very peacefully came to a conclusion, and I very peacefully got decimated by like 40 points. So I put some numbers and some letters on here. The numbers correspond to my inefficient moves, and the letters correspond to the corresponding advantages black was able to gain from my inefficient moves. So moves 1 and 2 resulted in A and B, which allowed black to get a comfortable position on a side that I had invested 2 stones in already, which I should have had more of an advantage in. 3 and 4 allowed for C and D, which allowed black a way to treat this stone lightly and use it to make me heavily reduce my own area to try to protect and keep these stones dead through some really good reductions. The very slow corner approach at 5 afforded black the ability to push and get a very big area for himself on the right-hand side with E. Sector line reduction at 6 was too far away from my other stone, which afforded black the opportunity to get a good settling of his stones and make it much harder for me to reduce his space. With F. 8 was something that I thought was Sente, which actually was not Sente, and by playing a move that was not Sente, that gave black the opportunity to completely decimate what could have been 15 to 20 points in my own territory. So we can see that these very small, inefficient moves compounded like interest, like money, right? It compounded and created the 40-point deficit that we saw over the course of the game, even though nothing died, even though no huge mistakes were made. The 1,000 paper cut style of someone who's much stronger than you was able to completely overwhelm a weaker player, which was myself. So I hope this gives you guys kind of an idea about what stronger players are seeing and what they're kind of looking for when they're playing against you. Alternatively, I hope this gives you some ideas that you can use to maintain an advantage in your own games and not give away your advantage, which would help you peacefully and without getting into complicated fights, carry your advantage through, compound your interest, and give you overwhelming victories like Tyler had against me. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitch and Twitter to catch all the latest news and updates for streaming times and videos. Additionally, check my Patreon to sign up for awesome rewards like monthly game reviews, SGF files, and an opportunity to play a game with me in my stream. Links are in the description below.